Zoomlion is one of the big Chinese construction equipment companies. And here we have two models, a concrete pump and a truck mixer. To begin with, both of these models are in the very unusual scale of 1:38, so they will go well together but not necessarily well with anything else. The models come in very nice Zoomlion branded boxes with carry handles, and we'll start by getting out the 10 cubic meter truck mixer. As you can see within the cardboard box, the model is contained within plastic formers, so let's separate those and lift the model out. Except you can't lift the model out because this model is secured by our very old friends, the twist tie. So as always with twist ties, it takes a frustrating few minutes to untie them, and to eventually get to a point where you can set the model free. Included with the mixer is a bag containing a small part and a pointer. The big concrete pump comes in exactly the same type of packaging with twist ties again. And by the way, the maker of these models is Sunraise Classic Models of China. Once the pump is released from its base, there's a few pieces to remove and a nice ribbon to untie. The assembly is as small can be, and the only thing to do is to attach a chute which has a magnet in it to the side of the truck mixer. Starting with the truck mixer, and the detail is good because the transmission and suspension are all modelled, and there's a mixture of metal and plastic parts. Moving to the cab, and it's nicely modelled. It's branded Hino, and the mirrors, wipers and grille all look good, and there's space for a number plate, but this is of course a generic truck. The lights also look realistic. Behind the cab, the water tank is metal and there's a gauge printed on the outside, and there's a hose running to the back of the truck. One really nice aspect of the detail is the very tiny graphics that are printed, and they give the model an authentic look. The big mixer drum is also metal, as is the wheel arch, and the graphics on the drum are very sharp. Moving to the back, the access stairs are tough plastic, but the colour match is good, so they look fine. And the hopper and chute at the back are metal. There's more detailed graphics, and the lights have plastic lenses. Onto the big 64X concrete pump, and the detailing underneath is of a similar standard to the truck mixer. There is a mix of metal and plastic parts, but the overall look is quite pleasing. The cab is a recognisable Mercedes-Benz Actros, and the overall details are nice. The detailing along the sides are good with the panels individually indicated, and the exhaust box is there too. The big rear outrigger beam has got some nice sharp graphics, and the boom and the pipes are all modelled in metal. Again, the graphics are reproduced to a high standard. At the back, the lights have plastic lenses, and there's some very nice walkway texturing. The pump cylinders are modelled in plastic, but the colour match is excellent with the metal parts. And the hopper has a plastic grille, and you can see things underneath it. The access steps are tough plastic. One of the nice small details are these access plates on the outrigger beam, but the pistons are the old-fashioned screw thread variety. Although it doesn't look it, the outrigger beams at the front are rigid plastic, but the big folding one is modelled in metal. The hydraulic ram jackets are all modelled in very tough plastic. We've seen how they look, let's see how they do. And first up, the truck mixer achieves a very good steering angle. Moving to the back, the wheels are fixed to common axles. Okay, let's get the mixer out on the Cranes Etc. test track. And it's a heavy model, so it rolls nice and smoothly, and as you can see, you get a very good steering angle. Not only that, it is possible for the driver to get in and out of the cab because the model has opening doors. The fit of the doors is very good, and you get a plastic pointer to help open them. And they slam shut nicely. The other thing you can do is to take a look at the engine, and as you can see, the cab tilts forward to a very good angle, and there's a nicely detailed plastic engine underneath. The mixer drum is super smooth and rotates really nicely. And at the back you can move the chute to any angle you like to discharge the concrete. Not only that, but if the chute's not long enough, then you can take the extension chute off of the truck, and then you can clip it onto the end of the main chute and you get an extension. So this is nicely implemented. Next we move on to the pump, and it's a 5-axle layout. And at the front there's linked steering, but it's quite stiff and doesn't achieve a huge angle. But as we always say, something is better than nothing. And this big chassis is also interesting because it has a rear axle which steers. And that's got a decent amount of movement. The pump has got the same nice features on the Actros cab. So both cab doors can be opened and the cab tilts nicely. And again you can see a detailed engine. This is a big pump, so it's got big outriggers, and the ones at the front are 3-stage telescopic. And the ones at the rear are large fold-out beams. To lower the pads you just unscrew them in the usual way, and you can extend them a fair way. So the pump is all set up and stable, so we can raise the boom. And on this model the rams are extremely stiff, and the grade of plastic used on the rams is very tight, so it means extending them is jerky rather than smooth. But of course the plus side of really stiff rams is that they will hold a pose. And certainly the rams on this model have no difficulty holding the big heavy boom. But maybe it would have been nicer to have rams with grub screws that could be individually tightened and therefore much smoother to open. Once you've got the boom set up in a pose that you want, you can rotate it, and that works very nicely on the model because that is nice and smooth. The other feature on the pump is the opening hopper lid, and that's a nice touch. This is a very large concrete pump in a big scale, so let's get the tape out and see how high it reaches. So we've set it up in a pose to reach up high, and looking at the tape the height is 54 inches or about 137 centimetres. Both these models are in the unusual scale of 1 to 38, but Sunraise has made a very nice job of them. There's lots of metal and the colour match of the plastic parts is excellent, and overall the features and detailing is really nice too. So if you want an attractive pair of big scale models, these are very good.